Welcome to Stroke of Genius Podcast Survivor Experience. I'm your host, Aaron Allen. 13 years ago, I suffered a brain aneurysm and a stroke. My mission of this podcast is to provide you with the support, valuable insights, and inspiration to help you need to rebuild your life after stroke. So without further ado, here's your host, Aaron Avalon. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Boyd. How
Good
you
morning.
doing, bro?
I'm doing great. How are you, Aaron?
Really good, bro. We're doing really good. So great to have you on my podcast. I really appreciate being here.
I'm honored to be here. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. We only have 30 minutes together, so I'm going to jump right into it because you inspired me, brother. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to tell you why in after, because I want to hear about your stroke itself, the story. And then I want to, because you're different. You're one of me. You're one of us that's gone from stroke survivor to stroke thriver. Now, we're different. So, did you know, when was your stroke?
So I'm pushing actually my 2-year anniversary in a couple of weeks here. It was December 6th. I think all of us know the date, right? That's the thing. It's emblazoned in your head. December 6th, 2021.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, that's great. Well, happy stroke anniversary coming up. So, anyway.
There's certain things you celebrate. I'm not sure if it's funny you bring that up. I don't know if we're supposed to celebrate our anniversary of when we had the survivor, or if we're supposed to, make note of it or be scared of it or whatnot. So I'm going to be learning from you on that. I'll take a cue from you.
Well, let me tell you what my family does. That's done for me for 13 years. We got a little slack on it, but mine was September 17th. I didn't call it anniversary. I call it a celebration of life.
Cool.
My film, cake, ice cream, no presents. Cake, ice cream, a little champagne. We have a great party, and we call it a celebration of life. The day I went, I should have died like you. I should die. So I call it celebration of life every day, every September 17th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So, but I'm going to pause for a minute. Hold on. I'm going to pause. This is Sherry Patterson, Niagara Falls, saying hello to you.
Hey, Sherry, how are you?
And we don't know who this is because they said love it. We don't know who this is. I have no clue. But I want to ask you a question, Boyd.
Okay.
Did you know what a stroke was before you had one? Did you?
No, I had no experience in my family. I didn't know anybody that had a stroke. I really knew nothing about it. The only thing that maybe I knew about it was things you see in the movies. It was serious. It was life-threatening. But I knew absolutely nothing about stroke or the history of strokes.
So did you have any warning signs that you look back on now and say headaches or dizziness or numbness or anything? Did you have any warning signs?
Nothing. I mean, my story might be a little different, or maybe it's common, but it was 3 days before that, on December 3rd, they put a stent in my heart. I had 90% blockage, so there was something going on. And they jacked me up full of blood thinners and everything, and gave me new plumbing, as I call it. And then it was 3 days later that I had the hemorrhagic stroke, a brain bleed. And it's weird because the cardiologist and the neurologist sort of disagree on what caused it, because it was a brain bleed. I guess they weren't able to sort of examine it. The neurologist swears that it was the blood thinner that might have done something. The neurologist says, well, there's no way to tell, and it could have been just lying dormant there and happened for a while. And so I'm in a bit of denial. I don't really want to know. That's part of my recovery, is actually put my head down and go forward. And I kind of don't want to know the particulars about it. The general things are good, but I haven't Googled it. I haven't done all that stuff, and I'm just moving forward.
Yeah, and that's part of what I'm going to get to because that attitude right there, that attitude makes all the difference in my book. But oh, okay. So, what were you doing when when you had your stroke? What were you doing?
Oh, okay. Is when we get emotional, right? So, you know, that Monday morning, I took my son to school. He was a freshman in high school. Okay, so 15 years old, 8 o'clock in the morning. I drop him off, and there's a story with this. You never know. There's always this thing. You never know what's going to happen that day, tomorrow. That today can be your last, and love the ones that you're with, all that sort of stuff. I dropped him off at 8 o'clock. I was probably in a hurry. I probably didn't say I loved you. I probably didn't say anything. I just dropped him off at school, and I was might have been on the phone. I don't quite remember, but I'm like, okay, bye. And then I left. I came home, and maybe 9 o'clock, 9:20, I started to get this really bad pain in the back of my neck, like somebody was putting a knife in there. It was just that bad, and I thought, geez, something's going on. So I called the cardiologist because 3 days before that I had just had the stent put in, right? And he's all, geez, you better get in your car and come visit, come see me. And I thought, oh, okay, well, doesn't think it's that serious, and maybe it's okay. I ended up calling my wife, which is weird because she's at school, and I know that she can't answer the phone during school. One of a billion reasons. It was in between classes. She answers the phone, and I said, her name's Siamata. I said, Siamata, it's really hurting me, and I don't know what to do. She said, call 911. So I called 911, and then I called back the doctor again, and then everything just kind of went weird after that. I had enough thought of. My dog's a runner. We rescued him in Hawaii, and he's a Rhodesian Ridgeback, and I had enough thought thinking that, geez, the firemen or the paramedics are going to come, blast open the door and come. They're going to want to save me. My dog's going to be gone. And that freaked me out. And so I was like, okay, how do I avoid this happening? So I literally went outside, closed the door to save my dog. And I walked maybe 15 yards from my door to the front of the garage. And things are just getting completely all loopy and wacky and everything. And I remember, I think I might have heard sirens. I'm not sure. And I think there was like a shadow of somebody coming to me. But I remember saying, I'm going down. I'm going down. And I think I heard somebody say, we got you. We got you. And then it was done. I was unresponsive, back of the ambulance, ventilator. My heart was doing the AFib or defib or whatever the hell it's called, and I was done. It was full blown brain bleed, stroke, and the rest is history. I think they called my wife and got to see me. I don't know when I woke up or what happened, but the rest is history.
Wow, yeah, that's sweet numbers now. With my stroke and many, I interview many stroke survivors, and they shake it off and they can't believe something's medically wrong with them, serious wrong. They're not a stroke. So they get that twinge in the neck and I must have tried. They blow it off. They don't really respond to it. But I'm curious, you're a broker, correct? You're a broker?
Yeah.
Now you still are a top level broker. I mean, you're one of the premier brokers in Southern California, correct?
Well, ironically, that the story gets so much deeper, right? So I retired early. I retired when I was 42. So I had a very big real estate career, very successful, very fortunate. But I wanted to raise my son perhaps in a different environment. We moved to Hawaii. And it was type A personality. And there's something, again, this is all brain related, it's all connected in some odd circle, but I just wasn't fulfilling myself, fulfilling my head, fulfilling my future, the opportunities that I had. We came back, and ironically, I was probably not even going to go back into residential real estate. I had done very well. I'd used my real estate sort of education to build houses at the end of my career. That's where the true money was. But I had learned everything by representing other people in the sale and purchase of their homes. So I thought I was going to get back into development. But when I came back to California, to Los Angeles, Manhattan Beach, COVID hit. And so like everybody else, I'm like, well, geez, the world's under pandemic. I'm not going to be building a house or doing this or spending money. Let's see how this happens, see what works out. Well, who would have thought things actually went up? And then I sort of missed the ball. And I'm like, oh, well, geez, I'm a year or two into this. And it's like I haven't really done anything. And I really wasn't thinking even of returning to real estate at that point. But then, I mean, again, the world has these plans for us and we have nothing to do with it. We just go on the path. I had the stroke. And when I came back from the stroke, the humility that I've gone through, that everybody else as stroke survivors, you know, I was 37 days in the hospital. I was discharged on a stroller. I live in the beach cities. And I remember my mother having the stroller before she passed. And I had these odd thoughts, you know, when the rehab ladies would come and help me out. I was they call it the Strand here. I was on the Strand in my stroller and I had a catheter hooked up to me and everything because I couldn't go to the bathroom. And it was, you have this level of humility that you just can't describe. And something happened during my rehab process where everything, all the walls, all my egotistical, whatever, why I wasn't getting back into real estate were all gone. And all the old passion and the old desires came back. And since then, it's come back. Now it's crazy. I opened up my own brokerage last week. I got featured in a couple national articles about my brokerage and about me giving back to the stroke community and things. It's just turning into something that I would have never imagined, but I love it. Like, I just love what's going on. You know, I wish I didn't get my ass kicked like I did. And then all of us that had a stroke at varying degrees, you know, we're lying on the ground. And it's like, my dad told me before he died, there was an analogy he told me, you know, he's like, stay down, you take your licks. And then when you're ready to get up, you get up and you don't go back down. And that's pretty much the same thing that I had here. And I've got people watching me. I've got my wife watching me, my 16-year-old son now watching me. And now I'm talking to other people that have had strokes. There's other people watching me. There's the real estate community watching me. I love it. Like, I was embarrassed before. Now I love it. Like, watch me all you want. I feel good. I want to help others. I want other people. People are helping me. That by sharing the story, just talking to you, Aaron. It's like you said, my gosh, you're telling me that I'm inspiring you. That type of pressure is so positive for me that I love it. I love it.
Boy, you know, talking to you, bro, it's like the energy. I believe life is all about energy, and it's what we are. We're energy beings. And sit there and you watch. I told you earlier in the agreement, you can find your purpose in your storm. And you and I both have. It's a purpose. We have our life's purpose changed. You were a big part. Those that know you, a big surfer, big real estate person. You did it all, but your purpose really was brought about by a stroke, and your purpose is helping stroke survivors around the world. And I respect that. And I know how that feels. It's awesome. The energy is awesome.
You know what? I've said this before. It's not like I was a bad person before the stroke, but the stroke changes you, and it just changes you, and you might as well change for the better, right? Why can't I? The example that I am to my son now. I mean, it was one thing to be retiring at 42 and going to living in Maui and being in my shorts and t-shirt all the time and telling my son I was somebody, and it doesn't mean anything. Now he gets to see his dad on the ground, get up and bigger and stronger now. My gosh, like, everything's worth it. Everything I've gone through, the hospital, the rehab, the struggle, the people looking at me or judging me, it's all worth it, because the example that I'm setting starts with my son, goes through my wife, extends to my family, and now my extended family of people that have had brain injuries and are coming back from a stroke is awesome, because there's a facility here in Los Angeles called Next Step LA that I go every week that I was introduced to by the lady that was helping me with my eyes after I got my my DMV license back. You know, as I'm sure other stroke people will all admit, our eyes get a little bit odd, and it's this neurological thing that we have. This lady put me in touch with these people that are returning from brain injuries and spinal cord injuries. This gentleman, Yanni Curry, he's a local guy here in Manhattan Beach, and he broke his neck jumping into the ocean here locally 15 years ago, and he didn't have the facilities around here to help him, and he created it. Look at his path, Aaron. Right? It's like we don't know our paths until something happens, and then it goes. It's like a Y in the road. Stay on that path, figure it out, put your head down, and that's the path. You didn't choose it. It was chosen for you, but you can choose where that path goes. And so I follow this guy, and it's awesome. I go every week, and I felt really weird. You know, I walked into this facility the first time, and I'm, you know, I got gel in my hair. I'm looking kind of funny, and I'm, you know, all dressed up, all nice and everything. And everybody's like, hey, you know, are you selling insurance? Or are you selling? They were kind of like, get out of here, right? You know, we're trying to rebuild our lives. We're doing the rehab in here. We don't want to buy whatever you're selling. But then I started walking around, you know, and I've got this underneath this beautiful set of hair. I've got this shunt in my head. All of us stroke people, most of us have these. I got this shunt in my head that's 2 inches like a Frankenstein. It's like a C battery in my head. Like my membership card, right, Aaron? So I walk around the facility now, and I go, hey, buddy, touch this thing, right? And, you know, it's sticking out like a battery, right? And they look at me. That is the coolest look in the history of the universe, because they look at me and go, oh, my God, you're one of us, and you're looking like this, and you're talking like this, and you're walking around with this swag. I want that. Well, I want to give it to them. So now I walk around. Now I'm credible, right? Now I'm walking around, and they're like, wow, whatever he's selling, now I'm buying. And then I transfer that into now real estate and relationships and everything. It doesn't matter. The people that I'm meeting, if they want me to represent them and I'm selling their house, great. If they don't, if I can talk to his neighbor about his wife that had a stroke and is struggling to return to work, you know, at CVS or anything at Starbucks, it doesn't matter. We're all just people coming back from getting our ass kicked, and we've had enough, and we're going forward. And that's the scary part of it, is that my reach is huge. Like it's huge. It's relationship, and it's genuine, and you can't mess with me. I've been humbled down to my knees. You can't screw with me. You can't mess with me. Whatever you tell me doesn't matter. My wife loves me, my son loves me, and my family loves me. Period. And that's it. And they came to that's another thing, you know, they came, all of us, you know, when we have our stroke or something happens, you find out, you know, your support system and what goes on. Holy cow, my wife, I married up. She, you know, stopped. She was my caregiver for 6 months, and she saved my life, period. And we always hope that something's going to happen, that the people around you, when the SHIT hits the fan, that you have people around you, always hope that they're going to come, but you don't get a trial run. Well, I had a trial run. And so I saw who came to my rescue. My nephews, holy cow, unbelievable. My family just that started the humbling. And it's carried into something that is so awesome. And why can't I give this to other people? There's so much, there's like awesomeness just coming out of my pores. And it wasn't there before. Like, again, I wasn't a bad person before, but I didn't necessarily give back. I didn't necessarily give to charity and all this stuff. Now it's like 10% of my commissions I'm giving to other stroke people to come back to work, whatever work that is. And it's awesome. Like, it's beautiful. I want to give back. Before, you know, a lot of people, they give back or they do this to look good or get on whatever. I love it. It makes me feel good. Hey, when we had a stroke, right, Aaron, it's like we got our ass kicked. We want to feel good. Like, we want to restore some of that energy because we got our ass kicked. All that energy was taken from us. Everything was taken from us. You can't go to the bathroom on your own. You can't move on your own. You can't think on your own. It was all gone. It was taken from us. And we didn't choose that. And that pisses me off. And that's what I want to give back to other people is that, geez, if I can replenish that energy that was taken from me, why not? And everything's going to be good from it. Business, no business, it doesn't matter. It's all just this energy that I have and my son sees and my wife sees. It's awesome.
Your energy, bro, is so contagious. I wasn't,
I don't know where it came from. Remember, I didn't tell anybody. I was so embarrassed. Like other people, when you've had a stroke and you're so humbled, you're so embarrassed that people judging you and whatever's going to happen. You just want what you used to have. But maybe what you used to have, you didn't appreciate it back then, right? Just the simple things. You didn't appreciate it. But now you do. Now it's like the simple things mean something because they do. Me dropping off my son at 8:00. Okay, bye. Okay, but shut the door. Bye.
Right.
Nothing, right? An hour and a half later, I'm in the back of an ambulance, non-responsive, with a ventilator, and my heart going AFib. You don't know. And if that's important to you, then treat that's important to you because you don't know what's going to happen in an hour and a half. You can get run over you can get hit by a car, you can have this stroke, you can have a brain injury, all these things. It's real. That stuff happens. I am testament to that. It happens.
Yeah, that is so true. I mean, what I find in your story, you said something that it's stuck in my heart and I can't let it go because I'm doing it. You said you let your family, your son, become your motivation for getting better, from going from stroke survivor to stroke thriver. And you said, wake up each morning with them in your mind, your motivation to get better. I do believe in recovery. I believe in rebuilding your life at stroke. I think you and I and all stroke survivors have to put in the work it takes to rebuild our lives. But you use your family, your motivation to get better, correct?
Yeah, but you know what? You nailed something as a stroke survivor yourself, is that you got to put in the work. And that's the difference. Like, it doesn't just happen. This energy and this craziness that I have, it didn't even happen. I didn't tell anybody that for over a year that I had a stroke because of my embarrassment. Now I'm like everybody, I'm okay with it because I have the confidence. I put in the work to get to here. And there was a gentleman that there was a client of mine 3 weeks after I came back and I was back into real estate. There was a client of mine that I had sold his house 20 years ago. And I went to go see him and he was telling me that he just had a stroke. And I wouldn't even tell him that I had one because I was embarrassed. I felt, oh my gosh, I'm looking kind of decent. I'm walking kind of decent. He was talking funny. He was walking funny. He was really struggling. And the thing about it was that, and I said, geez, what's going on with your rehab? Like, what's going on? In the back of my mind, I'm like trying to help him or trying to figure out. He's like, well, I do rehab once a week. Right off the bat, I know. I was like, okay, there's the difference. Whether it's insurance, whatever it was, he wasn't putting in the time to get it back because there's nothing special about me. My story might be special, but there is nothing special about me. I was just pissed off and I did it. I did 6 hours a day, 5 days a week for 3 months. Period. And if I didn't do that, there's no way I would have this energy and I have this clarity. But I put in the work. And everybody coming back from any brain injury, any stroke, anything, you got to put into work. Whatever it is, you break your ankle, it's not going to heal on its own. And it might take some people 4 or 5 years before they're done. Why wait that 4 or 5 years? Do it right away. Go back, just put in the work. And there's rewards at the end of the tunnel. That's the thing. People are watching you. And so when you do recover, like I've done, now people are heralding me and saying how great I've done and everything. It feels good now, but they didn't see me when I was on my knees and had all the problems. Nobody sees you. And that's when you find out your character. But that's when you get up, you push. And this is where you go. And if I can get that to other people, brain injury, stroke, whatever it is, there's so many things that this philosophy applies to. It's amazing.
Yeah, what, Boyd, my biggest thing in creating stroke TV media was that people, what I found out there, the majority of stroke community says they're going to recover. They place a value on what they can do now after a stroke, what they used to do. And I don't believe it. I believe that rebuilding your life is, like you say, you have to work, you have to rebuild your life to stroke. And you can't let stroke define you. It really cannot.
But it can be better, you know. That's the thing, Aaron. It can be better. Like, it may not even look like it when you're doing it. It doesn't feel like it when you're rebuilding it. But when you get to the other side and you look back, you're like, you know, I kind of like this view. This is actually a little better. Yeah. And that's the craziness. How can, especially if somebody just had a stroke and they're like, oh my gosh, how can this guy be saying that things could be better? I feel terrible. I can't remember my own name half the time. The days of the week are difficult. It gets better. And then once you reach a certain threshold, it's awesome to look back and go, I kind of like where I'm at. I wish I didn't need to go through what I went through, but because I went through it, I like where I'm at. That's a possibility that is as real as you can get.
I just love your energy, bro. I think it's amazing. And I think you define stroke. Stroke doesn't define us. You define stroke. So many people, again, I've been serving the stroke community for almost 9 years now. There's so many stroke survivors have their stroke, curl up in the ball and waiting to die. They absolutely have nothing, no purpose in life, no energy in life. And I think it really comes down to doing the work, put in the work, rebuild your life. It is possible, but most stroke survivors, like you just mentioned, your friend, I get a rehab therapy once a week. Well, that's not enough. It's not, right? It's not enough. You got to work to recover. You're rebuilding your life every day, pretty much.
See, and you know what? And it brings up another thing. I had my wife that helped me. And everybody's going to have different situations, right? There's different severities of the stroke. There's different recovery levels. But whatever it is, the same thing applies, Aaron, is the head down and moving forward. Your feet need to be moving all the time, period. Bad days, good days, they're always moving. Some of us have support systems. Some of us don't. Some of us have insurance. Some of us don't. But we all have our feet, and we all can put our head down, and we can all move forward. And the irony is that it's a brain injury, and it's the brain that can save us, period. That's the craziness of it. It's the brain, and we all have it. You can use it. And it doesn't feel like it works. The first 6 months, the first year, you're like, oh my God, I can't remember anything. And I just wish I was the way I was. Well, maybe you weren't that happy the way you were before anyway. If you really look back on it, there was a bunch of stuff that used to upset you and you didn't enjoy it anyway. How about we fix it, retrain the brain, and move forward on a better path? That's where I'm at. And if I can help some people with that, awesome. Like, I'm into it.
Well, like I said, your energy is amazing, bro. I really, really appreciate it. I told you 30 minutes to get back quick. And here we are at the end of the show. But, boy, if anybody out there wants to get hold of you, wants to talk to you, can they get hold of you on Facebook? What's the best way?
Broker on Instagram, Facebook, anywhere. You connect with me, and I do all these videos on my Instagram, Boyd the Broker. It's pretty cool. And it's not just real estate, it's family, it's life. And I've started to do these. That's how I really came out and introduced myself as a stroke survivor, was through Instagram and through some videos. So some other people that have had a brain injury or something, you can go back in my videos. You can see them. They're pretty interesting. You might identify with something. Send me a message. We'll talk. We'll figure something out. It's pretty cool. I'll give you some ideas and see what happens.
Boyd, I cannot thank you enough, brother, for being here.
Thanks for having
me. Thank you for being on the show and being on the podcast. And I want you to realize, Stroke Survivor, the altitude. Do you notice the altitude? Which Stroke TV media believes before therapy, before anything, your mind shift has to occur. The foundation. You have to say to yourself, I'm worth it. I can live again. I can build my life better. And boy, that's so true with your life. I really appreciate you sharing your story. And I hope you can come on the podcast again, because so many people need to hear this message of hope. Thank you so much. We're out of time. I appreciate you being here. Is there any final word? Let me ask one thing. We're a little over time. What advice would you give a new stroke survivor out there who's floundering, who's wondering what his life is at? Maybe he just had a stroke. Maybe he had a stroke years ago.
There's hope.
Is there any advice that you give them?
It's as simple. There's hope. I mean, there's always hope, and there's different reasons. We all recover for different reasons and at different levels, but we all share one thing, and that's hope. Without hope, it's kind of tough, right? With hope, go to the moon.
I haven't walked for 13 years, but I will walk again someday. In fact, a lot of people believe I'm from Texas because of cowboy hat, but I'll tell you the truth behind the cowboy hat. I dream of riding a horse someday. And it reminds me of me riding a horse someday. So there's the hope.
There you go.
The hat is hope.
We all have it. I'll wear a hat next time. Have me on next time. I'll put on a cowboy hat. We'll be good.
That's great. Well, boy, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Have a great day, bro.
Thank you, Aaron.
All right, bye.
Like what you just heard? Visit c-suiteradio.com. C-Suite Radio, turning the volume up on business.